Tensions continue to rise in Mozambique after a disputed election. On Monday, police fired tear gas at opposition leader Venancio Mondlane and his supporters as he spoke with reporters in the capital, Maputo. Mondlane, challenging the ruling Frelimo party, was near the site where his lawyer and a senior party member were shot dead on Friday in a politically motivated attack. The opposition claims the election was rigged, and the streets of Maputo were largely deserted as many observed a nationwide shutdown in protest. Final election results are expected soon, with Frelimo's candidate in the lead. What's next for Mozambique?
This is the current situation in Mozambique. Mozambique recently had elections. On the 9th of October, Kwapuma the results of the elections. And the ruling party is Frelimo. Frelimo has been the ruling party for the past 50 years plus, and they've been continuing to win election after election. The youth of Mozambique came out to the streets and said, nope, this is not who we wanted. These numbers don't look right. Even the EU, for a change, so the European Union Election Observation Mission came out and agreed, Uti, the counting of the votes, it's irregular. Mr. Mondlane. Mr. Mondlane is the president of the leading opposition party in Mozambique. So after the election results, he then goes out and broadcasts after a few days, mind you, and he's been hiding at home because he felt that his life is being threatened. So he comes out and broadcasts on Facebook, would say, please, let's go out and protest so that there is a recount or a re-election, something, because clearly the results are not favorable to him or the people of Mozambique. So 2 days after the protests have begun in Maputo, two of Mr. Mondlane's associates, one of which being his lawyer, Alvino Diaz, and the other being Paulo Guambe, who works for the political party, for the opposition political party as well. They were ambushed and unalived. And it is believed by Mr. Mondlane that this is a political attack. It's not a coincidence at all, and which then led to more protests and more youth coming out. 11 of these young people that have been in protests so far have lost their lives, unfortunately. Social media has been cut off from Mozambique completely. So this has been ongoing for the past 2 weeks. Now tell me this, why is the US throwing money in a form of a loan to Mozambique in the midst of such an unrest, when there are so much uncertainties all around? Who are you entrusting with this loan? Not only in mining, but in energy as well. Millions of US dollars in a country that is facing a huge unrest and people are losing their lives. And when are you throwing money in a form of a loan?
Tense scenes in Mozambique, where the president is calling for an end to protests against election results. Felipe Nyusi has said he believes the protests will only result in, quote, destroying the country. Mozambique's defence minister has warned that the military may be deployed to put an end to the unrest. According to medical associations, more than a dozen people have been killed and dozens more injured in clashes in recent days. Crowds took to the streets of Maputo on Tuesday, denouncing police violence. Earlier in October, the country's Electoral Commission announced that the ruling party, Frelimo, had won the October the 9th election, increasing its 49-year stint in power. Opposition candidates and observers alleged that the vote was rigged. The Electoral Commission has refused to comment, while opposition party Podemos has lodged an appeal to the Constitutional Council against the results.
This protest in Maputo started peacefully, but Mozambique's police didn't want it. Demonstrators gathered where two senior figures from the political opposition had been shot dead 2 days earlier. Gunmen opened fire on a car carrying a party official and the lawyer of opposition politician Venancio Mondlane. The UN and the European Union have condemned the killings. Police have promised to investigate. Mondlane had called for a nationwide strike on Monday. He says he's been rigged out of a victory in presidential elections held nearly 2 weeks ago.
I was cornered in my house. There were people at my door who were not letting me leave. I was being followed all night. That's why I was supposed to be here very early to start the strike.
Police tried to break up demonstrations in at least 3 other cities. In the port city of Beira, outnumbered police had to run from an angry crowd. The Electoral Commission says it's still counting votes. Opposition leaders say the polls been rigged to keep the ruling Frelimo party in power. Many people here say its popularity has plummeted after nearly 50 years in government. Frelimo denies the widely held belief that it controls the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission said it's run a free and fair process.
The people chose Venancio Mondlane, but what's happening is that the party in power does not want to give power to Venancio. That is why the people are in the streets.
Rights groups say several people were injured from being shot by police weapons, including this journalist. The official election results are yet to be announced, but for many of the protesters, all trust in the government and the polls has gone.
The port of entry, with people going about their usual business. Many of these people are Mozambican nationals who've come to South Africa for work. They say the situation in Maputo is bad, while others feel it is time for the Frelimo party to move out of power. It's true that there is war in Maputo. We don't want the Frelimo party anymore. 50 years is over. When a person no longer does a good job, we have to change them because there's nothing they will do. Even if the new president sits in that position, there is nothing that is going to change. Even if they change the laws, we will not follow them because a president must work with them. I don't know what they are fighting about, because we did vote. I don't understand what the fight is about now. Some people are being shot, others are getting hurt in the process. People's things are being taken. There is no peace. Deputy Commissioner of the Border Management Authority, Jane Tubana, has confirmed that the tensions in Maputo have not affected operations at the Lebombo port of entry.
The Lebombo port of entry has not been affected by the reported incidences and remains operational, with both movement of people and goods facilitated as normal. An observation has been made of an increasing number of hesitant travelers close to the port, which has the potential to create long queues at the Lebombo port. The BMA team, supported by other law enforcement authorities, are on the ground to manage any movement blockages.
Last week, Mozambique's ruling party Frelimo postponed its victory march through the streets of Maputo to an indefinite date, citing safety concerns.
Cidade Beira agora. Agora o caminho é a Procuradoria. Estamos juntos, cidade. Esse país é nosso, mano. Salve Moçambique.